This is for educational use only. Our group is allowing our instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this as an educational material. Good morning, everyone. We are the group 4. Our topic for today is all about the self from perspective of psychology. Our first presenter, Revaljun Nilias.
You are here to introduce the self from various perspectives of psychology. In psychology, the notion of the self refers to a person experienced as a single, unitary, autonomous being that is separate from others, experienced with continuity through time and place. The experience of the self includes consciousness of one's physicality as well as one's inner character and emotional life. The objective of this topic is students will be able to demonstrate skills in communication, ethical behavior, complex cognitive process relevant to the field of psychology, be able to design, conduct, and evaluate research that address questions relevant to forensic social science.
About the world self, what comes to mind? Of course, one it is about us and ourselves. But according to William James, there are two perspectives of ourselves, me and I. But let me introduce you to William James. Well, William James is an American philosopher and psychologist. He was also considered to be the father of American psychology. According to William James, the I self takes more about on ourselves. Not only that, it's also considered as being a human or individuals. For example, we think or you think in your mind that is considered as the I self. So moving on to me self. So what is me self? What makes it different from I self? So the me self is about the personal experience.
And now, the me self is divided into 3 subcategory, which is the material self, social self, and spiritual self. The material self refers to all the tangible things that represents who you are. It may be includes a car, gadget, accessories, etc. So, in short, it's about the possession of oneself which he or she labels mine. In social self is what is image to others. It includes what one says and does to others to understand. So, basically, our social self is what we show to other people. So while the spiritual self, which spirituality is a vast topic with many different interpretation in general, it entails a sense of belonging to something larger, oneself, or maybe a purpose in life. So spiritual can be only accessed through our emotion or our 5 senses. So those are the 3 subcategories of me self. So the difference between the 3 is material self is about oneself's possession, whether his family or things that labels to his or her. And the social self, we have really different behaviors in every social gatherings or even the people that we met. We have different behaviors that we show to them. While the spiritual self about on spirituality, like religion, identity. So those are the categories of me self.
I'm gonna be discussing is the global versus differentiation models. So global self, the groups of people that he interacts with every day of his life strongly influence him. So I just that sentence, I think this is very familiar to us Filipinos. We see some people who let other people decide of what they are or what they will be in the future. And from my experience, since I came from the province, and you all know if you're from the province, you can easily have friends or get a lot of friends. So by that, we all know that not all people in the province are wealthy, and I witness some of my friends did not finish their studies just because, or their reason is that they're not rich and that they don't have this and that. And we all know that there are already a lot of or people who are not that wealthy but got their degree. And so with that, I can already understand that the people who we interact with every day really influences, since in the province there are a lot of people that are jobless who just hangs around, and you know that those type of people are kind and easy to talk to, and they are funnier to be with, and that they have lots of experience they have on them, and they can be easy to become your friend. And just by that, I can see that they are really influenced by those types of person. And next is the differentiated self. So though affected by the presence of others, it has the ability to separate feelings and thoughts. So this type of person is somewhat different to global self, because even though this person hang around with those type of person who are jobless and who just hangs around, he still has the knowledge to separate his feelings and not get affected or influenced by just somewhat in just by bonding to other people. So he has this kind of knowledge with him, and enables the person to develop and sustain his unique identity, make his own choices, and accept responsibility for his behavior, and still be able to stay emotionally connected with his family and friends. So also this differentiated self also is a family factor. So if you're really close to your family, somewhat this is already with you, that I don't want to be like this and that, because you know that you want to be separated by them. You don't want to be jobless, you don't want to be just the person who just hangs around, and also your friends. And next is to add to that, this is Murray Bowen. So Murray Bowen is a American psychiatrist and a professor of psychiatry. He came up with the concept of differentiated self by just observing his own family, and the two factors that he discovered that affect the person is, first is the togetherness, and next is the individuality. To sum up, my topic is that global self is a person who lets other people define himself, and differentiated self is a person who has the knowledge to separate his feelings from other people, and is unique to define his own self. And
Who is Carl Rogers? Carl Ransom Rogers was born in January 8, 1902, and he died in February 4, 1987. He was an American psychologist and among the founders of the humanistic approach in psychology. Carl Rogers was another humanistic theorist in 20th century. One of the most important theories that Carl Rogers had regarding personality concerned our self-concept, or the way that we think and feel about ourselves. Rogers went on to classify the self into two distinct subgroups, the real self and the ideal self. The personality is a representational organization that everyone owns, and in this regard, we are able to declare that there are numerous forms of the self, among which we're able to list the real self. The real self is the aspect of an individual that displays their genuine attributes, including their natural abilities, tendencies, and personality traits. The individual's aspiration for themselves serve as the building blocks of their ideal selves, which are characterized by certain qualities. It acts as guidance for the individual. The terms the real self and the ideal self are used to characterize personality domains in psychology, who were able our own selves. It is the way we feel, act, look, and think. Others can see our real selves. But since we are unable to fully comprehend how others perceive us, our real selves are our real self images. On the other side, the ideal self is the way we wish to be. It is an idealized representation that we have built over time. Based on what we have discovered and gone through, the best version of oneself might incorporate aspects of what one's parents taught them, what one admires in others, what society values, and what one believes is in one's best interests.
The unified versus multiple self. So, what is unified versus multiple selves? Rita Carter, who is a science writer, lecturer, and broadcaster in Oxfordshire, believed that there is no such thing as true self because each person is a mixture of different personality, each with different points of view, feelings, and ambition. So, what is unified self? Well, unified self is a self that we show to people we trust, like our parents, siblings, partners, or even close friends. Then, what is multiple self? Well, multiple self is our sub-self that forms different behaviors in a specific situation, which are not limited to characteristic but also vary. We only show our multiple selves to our colleagues, co-workers, acquaintances, strangers, or even students if you are a teacher. Both unified and multiple selves have their various sub-selves due to the circumstance that they face. Subsequently, Carter developed a theory back in 2008 from the book of Multiplicity, The Mu Personality. Consists mainly of distinguished selves, also known as the division of multiple selves that are classified into three categories. These three categories are major, minor, and micro. So what is major self? Major self is our personality which includes our ideas, wants, intention, emotion, values, and aspiration. The minor self, on the other hand, has less parts than the major one and seems to be useful to deal with specific situations such as the need to debate with a certain people. And lastly, the micro self. According to Carter, it is the building blocks of our personality, different responses, emotions, thoughts, habits, and ideas. It could be as simple as a physical or verbal restriction or repetitive interfering thought or emotion. In addition to this, Carter presented the typology of selves. These are defenders, controllers, role players, relics, creatives, and punisher. Defenders are the traits that build up wall and use it to protect against any dangers such as people pleasers, warriors, and meticulous people. Controllers will use its authority to lead our behavior. Role players are personalities that are adapted or created to use in a particular circumstances such as an actor. Relics are the old miners that don't have a useful function anymore. Creatives are responsible to produce genuine ideas, knowledge, and visions, hence writers and artists. And finally, Punisher. It is either a controller or a defender, and or a mix of both that became misguided. These are the type of people we should avoid because they are the bullies and they criticize people in an ill-mannered way. Overall, the typology of selves is important to us to recognize because these example traits are a reflection of us. By recognizing them, we we will be able to assess ourselves. What traits should be come forward and should be enhanced, what traits should be avoided and closed, and what should be adapted, and what traits should trigger your current self. In conclusion, the theory of Rita Carter gave us the knowledge that each individual has different traits and sides to their personality, and that we are capable of showing different behaviors in different situations or with different people. Subsequently, we have learned that knowing the multiple selves within us can help us understand why we appear to be behaving inconsistently sometimes. Finally, we should be able to recognize and understand the multiple characters within us.
The theory of a true self and a false self was advanced by British psychoanalyst Dr. Donald Winnicott in a series of papers in the 1960s. Winnicott contends that everyone is divided into two selves and that people develop a false self to protect their inner, more vulnerable true self. True self versus false self. True self refers to a sense of self based on authentic experience and the feeling of being truly present and alive, while the false self is a defensive facade behind which the person can feel empty its behaviors, being learned and controlled rather than spontaneous and genuine. And this was discovered by a doctor named Donald Winnicott.
So hello everyone. I'll be discussing the self as proactive and agentic by Albert Bandura. So Albert Bandura is a Canadian-American psychologist. He proposed the social cognitive theory. So when you talk about social cognitive theory according to Bandura, humans are agents or originators of experiences, which is we as humans are not only agents of experiences, but we are also as an originator of experience. So what does it mean? As humans, we have the capability and capacity to act and make things happen. So according to Bandura, human agency is the human capability to exert influence over one's functioning and the course of events by one's action. So before that, what is the meaning of agentic? So agentic is described as an individual's power to control his or her own goals, actions, and destiny. Like for example, he is persuasive or he is a leader, so on and so forth. And also, according to Bandura, agency are perceived as proactive agents of experience, meaning to say, it is the willingness of a person. So when you talk about proactive, it is a self-initiated behavior that endeavors to solve a problem before it has even occurred. So there are four components of human agency, which includes first, intentionally, second, forethought, third, self-reactiveness, and fourth, self-reflectiveness. So first, intentionally. We humans plan things intentionally, or we do things intentionally. With doing this, we wait for possible outcomes. We make our plans, actions, and decisions with the basis of our intention in life. We as humans are interested in different things. We make ourselves self-interested in the things we do, therefore acting with our intentions, so that is intentionally. Forethought, on the other hand, enables us to anticipate the consequences of the things we do. We expect different expectations before we likely think better before we do or make decisions in the future. Third, self-reactiveness involves making choices. We make different choices and we actually make choices after thinking about the consequences. And lastly, self-reflectiveness gives us the ability to reflect on our decisions, choices, and consequences. That is all for self as proactive and agentic by Albert Bandura.